It's week 17, and we are stacking to win it here with DFC. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Justin Elick at Big Illy 42. And looking at your top stacks this week, a lot of teams that have something to play for, which is always nice that we don't usually get sometimes in week 17. No doubt about this one. I mean, a team with everything to play for, Packers, just the obvious stack for this week.
Yeah, and I mean, they don't have the highest team total. I mean, that's Atlanta. We'll get to them in a minute. But I mean, and this one seems pretty simple. Ty Montgomery had that big game a couple weeks ago. Detroit's run defense has actually been really, really good in the second half here. So I'm not really looking to play Ty Montgomery. There were only 13 total carries to go around last week for the running backs between him and Michael. So this is not a team that really cares much about running the ball. So, for me, this one's simple. Randall Cobb's still banged up. I don't know if he's going to play, but I don't know how efficient he'll be even if he does play. So for me, Rodgers and Nelson easily going to be the top highest owns duo, as it should be, as it was last week, as it should be, pretty much every day until the end of time right now, the way they're playing. But then you throw in Devontae Adams there, and, it's not a cheap stack, but looking at this, Rodgers and Nelson last week had almost 80 DraftKings points, put Adams in there, and that was almost 94 points. Certainly you're not going to see almost 100 points from this trio again, but, they've got an incredible floor. And I mean, the sky's the limit because this is a Detroit secondary that's been absolutely horrible at stopping the pass this year. And like I said, they've been good against the run. Packers don't run much anyway. This is a perfect scenario for Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball 40, 50 times. And I mean, I will be stunned if he doesn't throw for 3+ touchdowns again.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the true. I mean, you saw Randall Cobb kind of fall out of the rotation. Jared Cook can have a game every now and then, but this has been basically where the touchdowns come from. With that team total nearing 4, I mean, it just seems to be pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy one. You don't have to get creative. Everyone's going to play Nelson and Rodgers. Throw in Adams if you want, but if you don't want to, I mean, those top two are still going to get more than likely 70% of the scoring from this team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you like kind of adding maybe a Lions player on the other side of it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably a Golden Tate. I mean, we saw Anquan Bolden's the one that's banged up. I mean, the Lions are going to have to throw a ton this week. I mean, they're going to have no choice because they're going to have to try to keep up. So, for me, Rodgers, Nelson, maybe throw in Tate instead of Devontae Adams. I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Top stack number 2 here, Falcons taking on the Saints team. We saw Falcons. I mean, usually games in Atlanta have just been phenomenally high scoring. I think that's going to be the case again this week, really on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, this is the top offense in the NFL. I mean, they're scoring, 4.5 more points a game than any other team, and that's New Orleans is number 2. So, right there is the top 2 scoring offenses. They're averaging over 62 points a game between the two of them, and this total sitting at 56.5 almost seems too low, once again. And neither defense is particularly good. Matt Ryan just continues to be tremendous, even when Julio Jones can't play or is limited. And he hasn't had a big game in a while. Played last week, was okay. Not for his salary, but, for real-life purposes. But, for me in this one, I think you definitely want to get some shares of the running game. I was looking at numbers, and Devonta Freeman's got more red zone targets than Antonio Brown. Obviously, Brown's had a lot of longer touchdowns, but that's a good amount of looks. He's had 16 red zone targets there. Tevin Coleman likes to steal some touchdowns. I mean, I don't even feel strange pairing Ryan with Freeman and Coleman and leaving Jones out of it because you don't know where the production is coming from in that passing game for the most part.
No, you definitely don't, especially with Jones kind of being limited. Taylor Gabriel, obviously we've seen him kind of come alive here, but, you take away those long touchdowns, very low floor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been a couple times where it just looks like he's going to throw up a dud, then he gets a 60-yard touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, for me, that's a pass. I still think that, if this game stays close, and it could, I mean, we could see Julio get a big workload. And, they keep saying he's limited in practice and he's not 100%. I don't know why they keep forcing him out there. Like, they have plenty to play for. I get that. But he's not doing much when he's out there. And it's not even a decoy situation. I don't understand it, but I definitely think he certainly has a GPP type winning upside where people won't really be on him as much as, last week everyone was like, he's back against Carolina. I played him, didn't do a whole lot, but, he didn't have 300 yards against this team earlier this year. So I think his ownership will certainly be lower.
Yeah, definitely. Contrarian stack. And I think a lot of it has to do with basically because the Giants' pass defense has been good this year. They certainly have improved top 5, I think, per Football Outsiders against the pass. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, they didn't have a problem last time. Kirk Cousins in these situations, I don't mind it. I don't mind the stack at all this week.
Yeah, and I mean, Vegas kind of tends to think that the Redskins are going to put up a ton of points here. They got one of the higher totals of the week, 25.75. The Giants going to rest some starters. Maybe they'll rest some guys on defense as well. I would imagine they probably will. So, must-win game for the Redskins. It's almost like the Giants are handing it to them here. So you see a couple guys rest on this defensive side. Like you said, Cousins had no issue carving them up last time, had a pretty good game. So, must-win game. You just expect he's just going to air it out big time. And, Deshaun Jackson's got 100 yards in 3 straight games. Garcon's been getting some touchdowns, and he's been a nice, safe option. Jamison Crowder's really been doing nothing. I guess you could throw him in as a contrarian option, but he's not even getting targeted a lot recently. Jordan Reed might be back too, but he's probably not 100%. So for me, I'm just sticking with these 3 guys. And, Kirk Cousins as a one-off I don't think is that bad of an option either.
No, I don't either. I like his DraftKings price, 6,500, relatively cheaper. And I think, they're going to be contrarian because looking at those prices, I mean, Kirk Cousins, the guys around him, Bortles, Breeze is only $300 more on FanDuel, and kind of Stafford's $500 less on DraftKings. Like, you get him around these guys that are just kind of people are gravitating towards. I think the full package here with the Redskins is going to be really cheap, and also kind of really low owned.
Yeah, and like you were telling me earlier, what was it? Cousins is leading the highest scoring quarterback over the past, 4-6 weeks, something like that? 5
weeks. I mean, he's narrowly beating out Rodgers.
Yeah, which is incredible because he even had a couple of games that weren't that great. So, I mean, that tells you his upside there.
Yeah, definitely. Value stack, we're looking basically at the replacements here who are filling in for Pittsburgh. I mean, Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown all resting this week. So we get 3 guys that you can kind of use as a Jeep stack.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like that any of these guys are really that good. I mean, D'Angelo Williams, we've seen him be really good. Like we said, the workload isn't locked in to be huge for him. Obviously, Toussaint's going to see some looks as well. I don't think he's very good. I certainly won't be playing both. I still lean towards Williams. I keep seeing everyone on Twitter is saying you're not going to play Toussaint because he's not good, or you're not going to play Williams because it's a trap. Someone's going to be productive against this Browns running horrible run defense. I don't think Williams is going to get 25, 30 touches like he was beginning of the season, but you give him 15 touches against this defense, while Landry Jones, we know, has not been very good while he's been under center. This is a spot where I still think they're going to rely more on the run than the pass. But in the passing game, who you got? Hayward Bay, maybe Sammy Coates or Eli Rogers. I think Eli Rogers easily is the most talented of those 3 guys. So, for me, it's just a cheap stack. You can load up Jordy Nelson, Mike Evans, David Johnson, whoever else you want, along with these guys, and easily fit that in.
Yeah, I mean, Jerome Bettis isn't walking through those doors, so you got to play one of those backs.
Oh, God. I'm not trying to see him. Although I went to his restaurant in Pittsburgh. It's actually really good.
Is it? He's a big guy. I would imagine his restaurant's good. Yeah. You don't go to, like, skinny guys' restaurants.
No, hell no. Because, I don't know. I'm a skinny guy and I can eat.
But if you owned a restaurant, I mean, I wouldn't trust you. I'd trust fat guys' restaurants.
Well, I'm not going to cook. I'm just going to own the place. I'll get someone who knows how to cook to do the actual cooking. I'm just going to stand in the back and sample everything.
Yeah, that's fair. So that's going to wrap up this week's Stacking to Win It. If you want to check out Justin's article, you can head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com. Be sure to check out the rest of our Week 17 tools and content.